Hi, Village. It's your girl, Naris, and I'm back with another live stream. Now it is Wednesday. Um, I still haven't mastered the structure of how I'm gonna do this, but here we are. Um, my last live stream I talked about um, what was we talking about? Having a good time. That's what it was. Having a good time. Because I was thinking about um Kai's Mafia-thon. And I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about a particular thing with this live thing too. But before then, hi, for those who don't know me, hi, my name is Nerys. You know, I am the queen of all mood boards. I'm your favorite person's favorite person to be inspired by. Um, I say that humbly. It's just factual. Um, but I'm a singer. I'm a singer. No shade, no shade. Because I don't have beef with nobody. Um, I just like to be funny sometimes, and sometimes y'all take my jokes too serious. But like I have the sense of humor that I have because like if I didn't, I'd be depressed, and I really don't care to be depressed, and y'all don't deserve that from me. But we'll get into that. We'll get into that in this live stream. But I use sense of humor to get through some hard things, and sometimes people don't care for how I express myself um and tell my story. I mean, my story is my story regardless of how people feel about it. And maybe people might not like how I tell it because it seems like insensitive, and it's not my intention to be that. It's just I choose to look at tough times in a lighthearted way, so I'm not boggled down by like trauma and depression and like crying all the time, and being like paranoid and all these things. Like I've already went through that, and I really don't care to feel that now. But regardless, I say that to say, I've been through some things, and I know that even though my experience feels unique, I know that there's people who have been through tough times in their own life, whether it's bullying, being misunderstood, being attacked in any kind of way, and just be and like being outnumbered in a perspective and feeling alone and not knowing exactly how you want to go forward in life. And I've been through that. And a lot of that experience inspires my music and inspires a lot of the songs that I've been writing lately. Just for the last 5 years, I've been dealing with a lot of like tough circumstances and just like being ostracized in a way, and just really focusing on building myself and building my confidence and self-esteem through some of these tough times. And I hope that in my experience, I can share that and inspire you all. But to continue with the introduction, I'm a singer. I play guitar. I play several instruments. I made this beat that's playing in the background. I'm a producer, beat maker, um, visual artist. I love fashion. Can't tell. I love to put a look together, even though this is a simple look. But I love fashion. I love visuals, visual art, and yeah, I just love to create. I love to make things that sound and look beautiful. And I love to express myself through music and fashion. And not only express myself, but I really care to make work that can inspire, uplift, empower, and just invoke people to have a good time. So, yeah, that's a little bit about me for those who don't already know. And yeah, so when it comes to this particular live stream, if you can see by the title, how to beat bullies, right? And I did some like motivational content a while ago, and I kind of like didn't really get too much into it. Like when I do these live streams, I get into my whole motivational moments at some point anyway, because that's just very on brand for me. Um, but today is special in particular when it comes to that, just because about 5 years ago today, I survived a moment that could have led to unalivement. Um, I'm just gonna say I know like YouTube cancels stuff, but basically I survived the suicide attempt. Um, and I do this for a reason, and I'll get into that later. Um, but from that experience, I what led up to that was a lot of issues with friendships and workspaces, and just I was dealing with a lot of like bullying and being ostracized and not really knowing what the source of that was, and just dealing with situations and circumstances and people that made me feel like life wasn't worth living. And I got through that experience. I survived it and I overcame it. And today I'm grateful for my resilience and the strength that I've built from that. Um, and I just want to share that experience in hopes that if somebody else is going through something similar, that they can feel inspired to keep pushing and have and build self-esteem within themselves, and know to love yourself through your tough times, and um, just know that it's not over. Just know that it's not the end, and everything that you're going through is a season. And if you look at it with a different perspective, rather than seeing it as something that's tearing you down, view it as something that's building you up, that's building your strength, that's building your resilience, that's challenging your character. And at some point, you'll get to a point in life where you could look back at that time and say, wow, look at everything that I've been through and look how strong I am today. So, with that said, let's get into it. So, you know, like I said before, and I have like my incense kind of going here just for like the vibes and the vibration, because I know that this is a bit of a heavy topic, and I don't want to talk about it in a way where it's like a situation that I'm in now. It's something that I overcame, but I know it's something that people are going through. So I have this as a means to like clear the frequency as speaking to this experience. So with that said, like I said, I was going through a lot of things. If my life were like the Truman Show, you probably already know. Um, and I just didn't know what to do and where to go. I seek therapy, and I suggest that for anybody. And know that it might not necessarily be an easy process in the beginning. Just trying to find the right therapist for you that understands you. I see it as like speed dating. You know, you might not find the right person right then and there, but you want to find somebody that you have like chemistry with, that's understanding to your situation, that validates your experience, but also challenges you, and also pushes you to grow, and sees the best for you and will tell you what you need to hear rather than what you want to hear, but also isn't condescending to you, but is understanding to your circumstance, right? So yeah, that's something that I wanted to keep in mind. Um, and just share that. Now, do I have that in my own experience? Not yet. Um, but I know that that's something that ideally I know I deserve and know that I would want, and I know it's going to take time to get to that space, but I know my journey is different than a lot of people's, and I know it would be a lot easier for others. So it's easy for me to speak that and share that in hopes that it can help somebody else. So that's one thing, right? Like just building your support system in a time like that. If you're going through like a tough time, that's important. And also, say if for whatever reason, if you might not necessarily be able to have that support system, like say if you don't necessarily like have like close friends, or you might not get along with the people that you're around, and you don't feel like safe to share with them and tell your truth and be vulnerable, then that really calls for you to build your own self-esteem and your own confidence. And in doing that, it's going to take work, and you have to want to do it, because in that space, in that framework, you're not going to have people pushing you. If you're limited when it comes to a support system, and say you want to get a therapist, but for whatever reason you might not be able to afford it, you have to do things. You have to be the one to work yourself out of that space. You have you have to be the one to say, you know what, I'm not in the mood, but let me listen to music and content that uplifts me. Whether it's like motivational videos, whether it's, music that makes you feel good, that makes you dance, or gospel music, or if you watch people's content who are usually happy, that's having a good time. Just being intentional about the things that you consume, whether it's the things that you watch, the things that you hear, and also how you speak to yourself. And it's going to take time to work through that, but you have to be intentional and be mindful, like, okay, what am I listening to? What am I watching? Am I constantly listening to sad music? Am I around sad people? you know just really take an inventory and assessment on the things that you constantly consume, and see if it's something that's building you up or tearing you down. And a lot of times when we're going through tough times and we're sad, we kind of like to wallow in that space and listen to sad songs and watch sad movies. And I'm not saying to suppress those emotions. Like, give yourself like maybe some time to like feel that, express that, cry it out. But then you have to take a moment to be like, okay, I don't want to keep feeling like this. So this is what I have to do to like shake myself out of this. This movie makes me happy, so I'm going to watch this movie. I love this album. This album brings me happiness, so I'm going to listen to this album on repeat. You know, or I love this particular content creator. They're always having a good time. They have like positive content. So that's what I'm going to watch. You have to be intentional about the things that you're consuming during the time of you not being the best version of yourself. And sometimes it's hard to do that because sometimes you might not be in the mood for it. Sometimes it feels corny at times. Like, for example, like I know there was a point in time where I would watch a lot of motivational content. I haven't so much lately, just because for several different reasons why I haven't. But one, because I haven't really needed to lately. I'm really good at motivating myself now. But at that time, I know I needed that. I needed, like, when I wanted a coach in my life and I couldn't afford it, or I couldn't have a coach right then and there to help me out, I would watch a lot of different content creators like um, E.T., Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher, and like Lisa Nichols, and like some like motivational like videos from Oprah, or who else? I mean, there was a handful of people, like, those motivational videos, those workout videos, and I will work out and I will listen to that in the morning, and I know, or I will listen to a pastor or a sermon. And at the time I was listening to several different preachers, but I've let them go since then. But someone that I listen to now from time to time is Reverend Ike. He's old school. He's from like the 70s, and he talks a lot about like visualization and manifestation, but tying it into Christianity with the Bible, and doing so in a way where you're empowered, because there are a lot of things in the Bible that like makes you feel like you have to beg God. And he really reminds people that God is within you, and that you're a child of God, and that to seek that inspiration and that empowerment, knowing that God is in you, and God is within you and around you. So when you're lacking, you can speak to the things that you want and envision the life that you want, and speak to how you need God to help you. And I love that for that. And he also talks a lot about like money manifestation, but then also manifesting positivity in your life, manifesting, empowering like relationships in your life and stuff like that. And I love his approach, and I just love his positivity. And so I listen to a lot of Reverend Ike. But who you just have to find that thing for you. So like, what is that for you? And say if you have a different religious background, like say sometimes if I want to get into like a metaphysical, Zen kind of space, every now and then I'll listen to like Sadhguru. And I think that he's really good about having you change your perspective about situations. So, for example, like if you're like stressed out about something going on in your life, and he's like, when you're paraphrasing, that you're giving your power to this thing that's stressing you out. If you look at it from a perspective of you're not giving that permission to stress you out, but you're looking at the situation like, okay, it's here. If I can't change it, I can't change it, but I can change myself and I can change how I view it. And I think he just takes a lot of the stress and paranoia and chaos that we make up in our own minds in certain situations, or certain situations create in our reality. And he forces you to look at it in a way where you take the stress away from it and you reclaim your power and declare that, okay, yeah, sure, this might be challenging, but I'm not going to let it create a challenge in me. It might be challenging over there, but in my own world, in my own mind, I choose to be at ease. I choose to look at this situation, breathe, relax, meditate on it, and come up with a solution. I decide, okay, do I want to be in this situation? Can I exit this situation? Then exit. And, and if not, or if the exit has to be a process, really think about that process, but do so in a way when you're centered within yourself and not so wrapped up in like stressing about, oh my God, how am I going to do this? I don't know how I'm going to figure this out. Where's the money going to come from? Who's going to help me? Like, the whole worrying thing, that's not going to help you. Now, in some instances, those are valid questions to ask, but sometimes you just need to like relax and understand that challenges come up in life, and stressing about it and like freaking out about it and panicking isn't going to help you. So if you could just relax, because look, bills are going to be there, but also blessings are going to be there too. So it's just a matter of just like taking a moment to be centered and really just look at the situation for what it is. And it could be scary and it could be worrisome, but look at it with a clear mind to see, okay, I got to pay this bill. I might not have money over here, but I do got money over here. So maybe if I move this money over here like this, then I could pay this like that, that type of thing. And I'm speaking for myself because I got some bills that I need to pay, but I choose not to stress about it because I already declare in my life, like all my expenses are covered. I need for nothing. God leads me on a path of righteousness, but how the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. I shall not want, because everything that I need is already mine, and everything that needs to be handled will be handled. And sometimes it might take a little time, there might be a little delay, or it might happen quickly, but I choose not to stress about it, because I know any other time in the past where I've stressed about a bill or I've stressed about money, I've gotten through it and I'm here today. You know, there's so many circumstances where I was like down to my last dollar and I had to pay for something, or I needed to figure out how I was going to eat or whatever, but I always figured it out. And same to you, regardless of whatever you might be going through, there's always going to be a moment in a time where you're going to figure it out. And whatever you've already been through in life thus far, you've figured it out. Even if you had help, if you had to ask for help for somebody, or you made a way out of no way, or a blessing just came to you out of nowhere, or you found extra money somewhere, like blessings happen in your life. And if you choose to be in the frequency of blessings rather than worrying about what you don't have, more blessings come. So that's another thing as well. But it's really speaking to your mindset, having the mindset of knowing that you're going to be in a space of solutions and being centered and knowing that life is going to figure itself out. Now, the two things that I've covered so far is seeking help and building your support. That's one. But then also doing the things to build your confidence and build your self-esteem and not being caught up in the things that stress you out and that can bring you down, right? Those are the two things so far. Now, in instances when you're dealing with outside forces, that's where things get a little bit tricky. Now, I could do the whole like cliche thing of like, I mean, there's some things that I feel are debatable, you know, when you look at certain outside circumstances, like we're all connected and we're all living aspects of the Most High. That can be true. However, there are some individuals out there that are annoying or just outright like devious. And you know, and regardless of having that perspective of like, okay, we're all one, we are all a part of God and we're all children of God. But some of these children out here be like, they be leaning towards not God, you know? And it's tough being in a space when you want to have, like, me personally, I'll speak for myself. It's tough being in a space when you want to have that mentality and have love and gratitude. Well, not gratitude, have love and grace for those people and understanding, like, they know not what they do. You know, God forgive them for their ways. But at the same time, there's people who try you, and there's people who disrespect you and try to like push you over and talk down on you and be condescending to you. And for a long time, I had been like passive aggressive in those circumstances. Now, not so much. Now, not so much. It's very much not that. Um, but for this is specifically for the people who are passive aggressive, or maybe you might not necessarily know how to handle conflict, because I've been there. I know what that's like. I know what that feels like. I know that struggle of either not being bold enough to stand up for yourself or trying to be like the highest version of yourself and be the version that like tries to see the best in the people who give you a hard time because it's the noble thing to do. I mean, look, I'm just going to tell you straight up. Every now and then people just need to get mollywopped. This started out very zen, but I'm just gonna keep it a buck with y'all. And some of y'all aren't built like that. And that's okay. That's fine. And you don't have to be. But what I mean by that is that, you know, you being a kind person and being someone that just lets things slide isn't going to teach the bullies a lesson. You know, for one, you have to work up courage within yourself to even like stand up for yourself and acknowledge like, okay, I don't like being treated like this. I don't like people talking about me like this, or I don't like people approaching me like this, right? And it starts with you just challenging yourself in small ways to just be like, okay, I'm going to speak up for myself and say, look, don't talk to me like this. Or, you know, or just setting the boundary. That's the best way to break that down first, right? So you have to acknowledge your boundaries first. But the thing about boundaries is that you have to uphold your boundary for you before people test your boundaries. And what I mean by that is like, okay, so say like you have a boundary where like, okay, you don't like arguing with people, or conversing in a way where someone's raising their voice. So your boundary for yourself has to be like, okay, in those situations, I have to voice that, or I know I can't raise my voice, but I can speak the things that's bothering me. But you have to uphold that boundary for you first and commit to it. And then in situations where you have other people trying you or like raising their voice at you, and then it's like, okay, hold on. If you're gonna talk to me, we have to talk like civil adults. But if you're gonna be yelling, we're not doing that. You know? And you have to set the tone for yourself first, and then just let others know what you are and what you're not tolerating. And, you know, I've had many experiences and circumstances where like I didn't have boundaries. I didn't have a way to voice the things that bothered me. And I would just let shit slide and just not say anything or whatever the case may be. But now it's different. I mean, I'm at a point where it's like I don't mind going back and forth with people. I don't mind like arguing and standing my ground. But at the same time, um, I do have boundaries. And you know, and I'm at a point where like it doesn't bother me. And then there are certain times where I'm just like, look, I'm not going to entertain this. I'm going to set a boundary, and I'm like leaving this situation because one, I'm not going to stand for being disrespected. You're not going to talk to me any kind of way. I'm not a fucking child. And, you know, I'm not just anybody. You know, like I treat people with respect and I demand to be treated with the same respect. And if you're not going to do that, you don't have the privilege of being in my presence. And that's just the standards, you know? And it's not easy to come up with that boundary, but you have to like recognize in building your self-esteem that you're worthy of that. You're worthy of being respected. You're worthy of demanding what you want and standing your ground and not letting anybody treat you any kind of way or push you over or whatever the case may be, or at least acknowledging that if people want to try that, there will be consequences for that. And for me, I often say and declare and demand energetically anything that's done to me is already done unto anybody else. So if you bless me, you're blessed. If you try to curse me, you're cursed. Like, and that's just what it is. um and it doesn't have to be me sitting up here like burning candles or anything like that. It just because I said it, so it is. And there's several receipts out in the universe where that's a spiritually proven fact. But the thing is, I don't do that because I want to be combative with people. I said this in my last live stream, you know, I pray for people's recovery after the karma hits them back because I don't want ill will on people. I don't want to cause harm on individuals. That's not my vibe. I don't like that. I don't even like to be combative. But I understand that the world is a tough place and there are circumstances and situations where you have to rise to the occasion and say, look, even though I don't like to be combative, I will be combative in a way to let people know, like, you're not just going to disrespect me and think shit going to be smooth for you, because it's not, you know. And it doesn't have to be me fighting people. It just has to be me knowing my spiritual power and knowing my value as an individual that's living in this world as a spiritual being having a human experience. And because I'm alive, because I'm me, because I am who I am, and because I care to be a person that approaches individuals with respect, I demand respect. And for those who don't, they feel the consequences one way or another. And I don't have to be there for it, but it happens, you know. But it's really just knowing your power and knowing that you're worthy of that. And chances are, if this live stream resonates with you in any way, you've dealt with people who probably treat you less than you deserve. Or you probably deal with people who don't see the value in you. Or maybe they do see the value in you and they try to trick you out of making sure you don't see the value in yourself and try to keep you dumb to your power and dumb to the things that make you beautiful and why you're worthy of being here, why you're worthy of the life that you want to live, why you're worthy of respect, why you're worthy of happiness, why you're worthy of success, why you're worthy of safetyness, why you're worthy of the beautiful things in life. And again, going back to that whole thing of being mindful of the type of content that you consume and the things that you listen to, and remind yourself and tell yourself of how to feel about yourself. Like, you have to know that you're worthy of those things. And when you know it and feel it in your spirit and know, like, yes, I deserve the best things in life. And I know I'm a good person. I know I put out good vibrations. I know I mean well. I know I care to be in a positive frequency. And I know I'm worthy. I'm a child of God, therefore I'm worthy. And anybody that doesn't think so, that's not really my concern. But just know that when I'm in a space and I give you respect, I deserve the same respect in return. And if not, then oh well. You know, and oh well meaning like, okay, the same way you treat me is how you get treated. And I just pray for the recovery after it hits, because that's just where I'm at with it. That's just my own frequency. But you know, it starts with like, one, knowing your worth and really believing it, and believing that you're worthy of the best things in life, and knowing that you're worthy of respect, knowing that you're worthy of positivity. But you have to give that to yourself first. So when you know your worth, and then you have boundaries and you uphold those boundaries and you live by those boundaries, there are going to be instances and circumstances and people who try those things. People who might try to attack you, people who might try to disrespect you, people who may feel entitled for one way or another. And they might feel justified or they might not be. Um, and however they approach that situation, you just have to uphold your boundaries and know that you're worthy of being treated with love. You're worthy of love. You're worthy of respect. You're worthy of being held to the value that, not only the value that you see within yourself, but the value that God has within you, and the value that God sees in you. And sometimes we might not even necessarily see it or know it within ourselves. You know, sometimes you are in circumstances where people try to make you feel less than what you are. And that's really not your concern. What's your concern is being in alignment with how God views you and how God blesses you and who you know yourself to be. Because people would try to pigeonhole you to something that doesn't even resonate with your energy or resonate with your frequency. And that's fine. They can do that. But as long as you know who you are and you know your actions and you know your story and your truth, and God knows, nothing can stop you. Nothing can define you to be who you are other than what you declare yourself to be. And and in that, you have to know that you can't be intimidated by people, even if people appear like, in whatever way in life. If people appear to be, you know, like more knowledgeable than you, like, oh, they have more degrees or they have more power or more access or whatever the case may be. You have to be so secure within yourself that none of that shit fucking matters, you know? And I mean that in a way where it's like, not that you like are disrespecting them, but like for example, like, say if you have an opportunity, like a multi-million dollar opportunity, you have this opportunity to work with somebody that's really powerful or somebody that you look up to, you have to know that you're the prize. And in that situation and in that circumstance, although they might be presenting the opportunity to you, there is a part of this opportunity where they need you, you know? And even though they might try to make you feel like you're disposable and that they could just get anybody to do it, you have to know within yourself that if they work with you, it's a privilege, and if they don't, it's their loss. Because you have to be so certain and confident within yourself that, you know, even in a space where you might be growing and evolving and you might not have it all figured out yet, and you might still be like growing in a way where you're growing your talents, and even though they might be more experienced than you have to know, like, I deserve to be here. I'm worthy of being here. And not only that, you're not going to make me feel smaller than I am just because you have this fancy office or you have this fancy, opportunity and you have millions. Because if you really think about it, like leaning towards the spiritual side of things, people could have all the money in the world, but your spirit could be richer than them. I'm going to say that again. People can have all the money in the world. They can have all the money, the accolades, the success, the respect, the notoriety. But your spirit can be richer than them. And I say that like that because there's some people in this world that walk around as if they don't want to be here, and that they question their worth, and they feel like, oh, I can never be as big as so and so. They're a legend, they're an icon, they're this, they're that. They're a person. They are people, and they bleed like you bleed. We all bleed in this world. But you have to know that power within yourself. You have to know it don't matter what my bank account look like. My spirit is rich. And there is not a human on this world, on this planet, that will try to demean or tell me anything other than what I know to be true, that I'm a child of God. And we're all children of God, but you're not going to make me feel anything less than that. It's just not going to happen. We just not doing that. And you have to work yourself up to a space where you say that within yourself, and you feel it, and you know it to be true, and no one can shake that. And I mean, it's easy to say now, but I had to work to get to this point. There were times where a lot of the things that people insinuated about me, I believed it. And I felt like, oh damn, I'm not a good friend, or I'm not a good person, even though I was stressing myself out trying to go above and beyond to prove myself of being a good friend. And the fact that I was even willing to do that says so much. It says, like, yeah, if you weren't a good friend, you wouldn't give a fuck to even try. There's people who are like shitty individuals and don't care. They don't care to do the work. They don't care to build and improve themselves. They don't care to right their wrongs. They don't care to, be a better person. And I knew that that's not me. I know I'm the type of person where if you have an honest conversation with me, I'm going to be willing to do the work. And it might take some time, and I might be stubborn about it at first, but eventually I'm going to recognize, if you're saying it from a space of love, all right, this is something I need to work on, so I'm going to do that work. I'm the type of person where if I notice that something's wrong, I'm going to try to do the work to fix it. If I know that I'm falling short somewhere, I'm going to assess. I have the self-awareness to be like, okay, something's wrong. I think I messed up here. Let me rework my actions and let me fix that. So I knew, like, at one point in life, when there was like this whole like narrative or energy around me with the people that was around me, they wouldn't say it directly, but they would insinuate like, oh, you're not a good person, you're not a good friend, you're an awful person, and you deserve all this, these mean things that are happening to you. And for a period of time, I believed it, until I started doing that inner work on myself, and building up my self-confidence and affirmations in the mirror. Um, you know, and I say that like that because, I think it's interesting that Greek mythology can be used in a way to try to make something positive negative, like the story of Narcissus and Echo, and how, Narcissus was innocently cursed into loving himself, and falling in love with his own reflection, and when he died, turning into flowers. I think flowers are beautiful. It's a beautiful gesture. And I think having self-love affirmations in the mirror can be powerful. It can save lives, actually. And it definitely saved my life. So, you might have to do that work of saying affirmations of self-love in the mirror, and tell yourself until you feel it's real. And don't let anybody try to make you feel like you're silly for that, or like you're weird, or whatever the case may be, because it just might be the thing that builds up your own self-confidence and builds up your own self-esteem. So anybody could say anything about you and it doesn't affect you because you know who you are. And because you did that work, you know that nobody's perspective can shake what you know to be true. And what you know to be true is that you're a beautiful person and that you're a positive person. And when you can, you try to help others out, and you care about the environment. You care about your community. And when you can, you support people within your community and you uplift people, and you're honest, but you're caring and you're compassionate. And when you remind yourself of these things, and maybe say for whatever reason, you might be in a space where you might not necessarily be those things right then and there, but you want to be. Like, you want to be compassionate, you want to be loving, you want to be more helpful. Okay, and that's fine. Speak to that and speak to it as if it's already true and watch it manifest in your life. And, and that's what I had to do with a lot of the things to build my self-esteem. I had to tell myself, like, I'm a good person. I know I'm a good friend. I know I'm a positive person. I care to do the right thing. I know I mean well. If I could give back more, I would. And in my own free time, I have. And I know that the things that people say about me don't define who I am. I define who I am. God defines who I am. And nobody is above God in my life. Not even the most powerful occultist in the world. Okay. They don't know nothing that I can't learn and study for myself. And that's a whole nother conversation for another time. But I say that to say, because there are supernatural things in this world to be aware of. But my point is that no one is above the Most High, depending on what your spiritual belief is. And it's more so you knowing that in your own mind, because there are going to be things that challenge you and push you, not only physically, or mentally, but spiritually. But if you have the mindset that I don't care how powerful you are not more powerful than the God that I serve. And because I think like that, and that's my mindset, and that's how I choose to see the world, even in the midst of spiritual battle. And in the midst of spiritual battle, you might get some, some hits or whatever here and there and bruises and stuff. But if you just have the mindset that I don't care what I'm going through, or who I gotta face, or how many people I gotta face, none of y'all are more powerful than the God that I serve. And God is working a miracle in my life. And I can overcome anything. And no weapon formed against me gonna prosper. Every weapon attempted to be formed against me falls upon my enemies. Any curse that you have set for me will go back to you 30-fold, and I pray for your recovery after it hits. I'm blessed beyond comprehension. Everything will work in my favor one way or another. I don't have to see it. I just trust it. Because I believe in the God that I serve. I have faith, and nobody can shake it. I've gone through too much. I've overcome too much to go back to a mentality where I'm paranoid and depressed and fearful. I fear no evil. There might be things that might have me a little shaken or whatever the case may be in the moment, but I trust the God that I serve. I fear no evil, for thou art with me. God protects me. I'm divinely protected. God leads me on the path of righteousness. God protect the steps that I take. Protect me in any space that I'm in. And any challenge that I face, I know that it's an obstacle for me to overcome. That's going to empower me. That's going to strengthen me. That's going to build me up. That's going to build my courage. That's going to build my mental fortitude. And I know that it's something I could get through. I know it's something I can overcome. And these are things that you have to tell yourself when you're facing bullies in the world, when you're facing people who are mean-spirited, when you're facing people who be doing the work of the devil and claim that they Christian. You have to be so strong in your own faith. And I know that there's some people who might not that might be atheists, and that's your own prerogative. But I think having faith is important, just because there are spiritual things that influence and move through this world. And spiritual warfare is a very real thing. And spiritual warfare can be the component that can cause you to be depressed, that can cause you to be fearful of bullies, because spiritual bullies are a real thing too. Is more, when I say bullies, I'm not just talking about like you in school and the kid picking on you, trying to like press you for your lunch money type of thing. There's spiritual bullies out here too that adults, grown ass adults, have to deal with. And weird things be going on or whatever the case may be. But when you're prayed up, when you have strong faith in God or whoever the Most High is for you, when you are a prayer warrior and you understand the power of the tongue and you speak over your life, that you're protected, that you're blessed, that God leads you on a path of righteousness, and that no weapon formed against you is going to prosper in the midst of battle. The more that you are battle tested, the stronger that you are, and the more resilient that you are, and the more unfuckwittable you are, and I'm just like so grateful to be like in the space that I'm in right now. Just because, like, for example, like I had a moment of conflict like maybe like a week or so ago, and I was like really proud of how I handled it, just because I know the version of me years ago would have been like shooken up and like scared or not wanting to be combative. But like I've gotten to a point where I just have fun with this shit. I'm just like, okay, like if I'm petty, bitch, you're petty, type of thing. Because like I'm so centered in who I am that nobody can tell me about myself. And I don't care what you got to say about me. I know who I am, you know? And you can say the craziest shit about me, but it's not going to make me feel away. Because like I said, I'm so secure in my confidence within myself, my own self-esteem, and the fact that I'm a child of God. And no other human, spiritual or not, like, you don't supersede the God that I serve. We all bleed. If I can get hurt, you can get hurt. Not that I want that, but I'm saying that anything that you try to put on me is already yours. Meaning that if you try to wish ill will on me or harm on me or trying to, take away from me in any way or any capacity, you have to deal with that in your own reality. You have to deal with people taking from you. You have to deal with ill will on you. You have to deal with, whatever. Any way that you try to like fuck with me, I already declare and decree that it goes back to sender. And I'm blessed regardless. I'm blessed and no weapon formed against me going to prosper, you know? And that's just what it is. And every now and then, like, like I said, like sometimes, like, okay, hit might come through or whatever the case may be, but I trust that anything that God allows to happen in my life is an opportunity for me to strengthen myself and for me to be able to find solutions to those problems and to be able to heal myself and to be able to build the courage to fight for myself. So, even though I've experienced a lot of pushback, a lot of like being attacked and bullied and like shamed and all those things, like in a way, like I'm grateful for those experiences, because had I not gone through that, I wouldn't have known the strength that God has for me. I wouldn't have been able to be as strong as I am today to like, because today, 4 years, 5 years ago, I was so paranoid, so depressed, in such a weak mindset where other people's power and words had so much influence over me. And I was so beaten down to a point where like I really believed the things that people insinuated, and that like life wasn't worth living, even though I'm such an optimistic person and always have been, to a point where like it don't matter what I'm going through, I always know that I had like worth to be here. And for me, it was always music. Like I always knew, like, I just pray that God keeps me alive long enough to make the music that I am talented enough to create, because I know like I have a lot of things to say that I feel are important, that can empower people, that can uplift people, that can entertain people, that can make people smile and dance. and make people feel good. And even if people in this lifetime don't understand it, I know that it'll be out there in the world on this planet for people to find and enjoy at some point in life. And you know, because I think to like a lot of the music that I listen to now that is from generations before my time. Like I wasn't even alive yet when, you know, a lot of the Stevie Wonder albums came out, or you know, just like any of like the old school classics. But because they created that music and they didn't give up on their dreams and they made something that they are proud of, that they stand by, it transcended a generation to inspire me. So I know that even regardless of the tough times that I might be going through in this particular moment in time, I know for one, I could get through it. And I know that God has blessed me with my gifts and my talents and my ambitions and my dreams. And I know I can use those talents to create music like the beat that you're hearing in the background, which is literally an anthem of saying fuck you to the bullies. Like, you can't tell me what the fuck to do. And really speaking to having autonomy over your body, mind, and spirit. Like, this is literally what this song is about. And I made it to a house beat so you could bop and jam to it, you know? And I know that it's important. And even though it speaks to a spiritual standpoint, and I know a lot of people don't really talk about that in their music, but I truly believe in the near future, we're going to come to a point where speaking about spirituality out in the open is going to be normal. We're going to openly speak about magic and spiritual warfare and ways to protect yourself and uplift yourself and empower yourself. And I mean, slowly but surely we're getting there. But I mean, like, you know, people got to talk about it in cold, but we know what it is, you know, and I choose to be free in my self-expression and free in my music to talk about it as it is. And in me doing that, I know that it can be something that could be inspirational to people beyond generations. And bringing it back to my point, years ago, I almost gave up on that. I almost gave up on believing that life was worth living, and that, you know, all the awful things that people said, you know, that it made me feel like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be here, type of thing. And to know that the work that I've been doing for the last 5 years to grow and evolve to the person that I am today, that is fearless, that has no problem speaking power to the truth, that has no problem going up against powerful individuals and entities. I mean, I feel like that's the Black woman in me. You know, learning about prolific leaders that were willing to stand up to organizations and government situations and circumstances, you know, knowing that I'm empowered to do the impossible, or what people think or assume is impossible. You know, and regardless of how people feel about it, like, you know, I feel like some people might not necessarily like my approach or like how I express myself, because a lot of times I could be very like, I could joke about certain things and be comedic about certain things that might seem like, okay, this is really serious. Just because like that's a coping mechanism for me, and it's worked for me. Whereas rather than being like paranoid and depressed like I was years ago, I find ways to laugh at the tough times, because I rather try to find the funny thing in the situation rather than cry about it, because I've spent too much time already being in that low vibrational frequency. And I truly feel like laughter and music are powerful ways to heal. And some people might be like offended by certain like things, like, you know, like how there's certain moments where like laughing at, you know, you laugh at a very inappropriate moment or whatever the case may be. But, you know, sometimes that might be the thing to help that person get through. And some people might not understand it. Some people might be offended by that. And you know, and people are entitled to feel how they want to feel. But I say, like, you know, if you're offended by how I express my truth or tell my story, or if you're offended about how I use laughter to try to get through some of the hard times in my life, like, you're entitled to feel that way. But I'm offended to have even been through the actual experience in my real life. And, despite that, I choose to find ways to, you know, either like laugh it off so it doesn't have me in a space of like perpetual like PTSD and trauma. And that's just what works for me, because I refuse to let people or situations bring me back to that point where I feel depressed about my life, because I know I'm a good person. I know I'm funny. I mean well. I have a good heart, and I care to inspire people. I care to do good and say positive things with my platform, despite like the frustrating circumstances that I go through. And I think it's only fair that I get to share my truth and share my side of my story. And if it makes other people uncomfortable, I'm sorry. I was uncomfortable to have to live through this BS. Um, you know, especially where other people have benefited from the BS that I had to live through. So yeah, I don't, if you're a little bit uncomfortable about how I express it, oh fucking well. Respectfully. Not to say that in a way where it's like inconsiderate, but like, it's just, that's just how I'm getting through. And like I said in the beginning of this, it's like, look, if you have a support system like a therapist or like, like a good family around you, then you know you have the means of having healthy ways to navigate that. I'm still figuring that out for myself. So, my outlet might not be like the healthiest thing, but I mean, it's what's keeping me sane, and it keeps me in a space of like positivity in a way. And it allows me to look at my situation in a way where it doesn't hold me back. And I could speak to it. I mean, there's still some things that are kind of like tough for me to like acknowledge and address. Like, there's certain songs that I kind of like want to write about that as a way to express myself, but like I'm kind of like taking my time with it. Um, but at the same time, like, I don't let it hold me back. I don't let it pigeonhole me. I don't let other people's opinions about my life or my situation alter how I see myself and alter my self-esteem and how I know God sees me and how God loves me and believes in me. And I know God knows my heart. Like, it's not like I do things with the intent to cause harm. Like, that's not my vibe. I don't care to bully people. I don't care to, shit on people when they're down. And the thing is, a lot of times I be feeling bad for people who have, you know, in a way, like, if someone's like shitting on me and they're being shitted on, I actually kind of feel bad. Sorry, I'm trying to like move this thing off the floor here. I actually be feeling kind of bad, even though I feel like me of all people shouldn't, because I'm like, oh, this person was talking shit about me. So it's like, all right, well, oh, that's what you get. But that's not the type of person that I am. I mean, every now and then, depending on the situation. If I feel like severely like disrespected and attacked, and I get my look back and it don't gotta be through me, then haha, yeah. There is a part of me that is petty, that does love that, like, that revenge that I don't have to do, you know? But at the same time, like, I don't wish for people, like, for example, like what's happening with Drake right now. I know it's easy to dogpile on him. I talked about it yesterday, but I don't like like, just, I don't like how the situation is. Now, like, yeah, he lost the battle, and to some degree, like, he does deserve some of that heat, but I just don't like how, like, everybody's just shitting on him all at once. And I don't have to feel away. I could be one of these people that's like, oh, well, I ain't like that song and I ain't like that album cover and I ain't like, like, I could be like that, but I'm not, because I just don't like to see people being bullied. And like I said, in my other live stream, I don't think we've ever seen anybody be like viscerally like or vehemently attacked like how Drake is right now, like after a battle. And people are just like, oh, it's hip hop, you're supposed to just take it, you know, but we've never seen it to this scale, to this degree, especially with social media. And again, like other battles that we've seen, like even with like Common and I think Common and Ice Cube battled at one point, but they're both revered and respected in hip hop. They've never been attacked and shitted on like people are shitting on Drake, you know? And, you know, you could say all the things like, oh, he's so corny and this and that. But I'm like, okay, but was he corny when he was dominating the charts for like 10 years? Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. It's interesting to see how people switch up or whatever. Bless me, bless my life, bless my existence. But I really, my point in really saying that, because like again, I don't have to defend nobody. But I just feel like, you know, it makes me think of that verse that Jay-Z has on Lost by Coldplay, where he says, the same sword they knight you, they going good night you with. Shit, that's only half if they like you. Don't believe me, ask Michael. And I forget the rest of the words, but look it up. Look it up. But I mean, literally, the same sword they knight you with, they gonna good night you with. Like, you know, they love you until they don't. And, you know, and if you're at the point in the season where it's like, okay, it's, you know, the bandwagoning on hating on a person, you know, it is what it is. But anyway, but regardless of that, me personally, I just don't like to see people be bullied. You know, now I think it's different when you know, when you're expressing your frustrations about a person or a situation, and other people may have been like, you know, talking about you and this and that. And I feel like everybody should have the right to speak their truth and tell their side of their story. But I think it's another thing to just like, you know, gang up on somebody. I think that's whack. I think that's corny. And I might be biased to that because I've experienced it. But even, yeah, in my own biased experience, yeah, that shit is corny and that shit is whack. Especially when you're dealing with that from people who know you and who you've been there for, who you supported, who you've been like there for their low times, you know, and they like betray you and turn their back on you. I think that shit is fucking whack and corny. And especially when they don't communicate with you about it and they don't tell you exactly what their problem is and they act like shit is cool and they do that whole gaslighting thing. I think that's extremely whack. I think it's immature. I think it's petty. And I think it's asinine. And I really wish that as a people and as a culture, we can get out of a space where we're speaking in code and we could just say what the fuck we want to say right then and there and get to a solution and tell each other our problems in real time. Like, hey, I don't like when you said this, or when you did this, this made me feel away, or this experience, you know, triggered me, or whatever the case may be. And then you can speak about it and say, okay, well, that triggered you. Well, this triggered me too. And maybe how you remembered that situation isn't how I remembered it or how I experienced it or how you're making it out to be. But I think it's only fair that people have an equal right and a chance to express themselves rather than being in this world where we gotta fucking speak in Illuminati hieroglyphic ebonics and not really say what we feel, because a lot of things could be lost in translation, you know. And there's ways where you can shift the frequency where, say you're hearing a positive song and you know you can shift the vibe, or you could be in the mindset to only view the negatives in that song, and say it's a positive song but it's like you only hear when they say this particular word or say it like this, so now you're thinking like, oh damn, this song is fucked up, but really it's a good song, you know. And you know, it's really all about like mindset when it comes to that. And you know, and I feel like this whole like, again, like this whole talking in code shit is like things could be lost in translation. And then you really got to sit and think like, okay, like, well, this felt positive, this felt good. My first instinct was to see this felt like this. You know what I mean? So like it's a whole thing in itself. But anyway, I'm kind of going on a tangent here. But my main point is that, you know, for one, build a support system. You know, whether that could be mental support, spiritual support, you know, whether it's the church. I didn't really speak too much about that, but I did speak about having faith and speaking your faith into your life, in terms of like content and what you surround yourself with and what you consume. Um, so yeah, be intentional about like your support system. If you don't have a support system, build your confidence. Be intentional about what you consume, what you listen to, and really do the things that empower you. And then set boundaries. And when you have that self-esteem and you have those boundaries, anything outside of that can't fuck with you. And it may be good to deal with bullies because, you know, bullies can strengthen you. And, you know, and every now and then you have to go through those experiences and eventually work up your strength and your courage to get to a point where it's like, all right, you're not going to keep fucking with me. And if you think about fucking with me or if you try to fuck with me, it's going to be a detriment to you and you're going to feel it one way or another. You know, and that's just what it has to be. And you have to declare that and say that for yourself and know that you can face anything, because there are going to be people who try you. Like, even when you get to a space where it's like, all right, you don't tolerate no bullshit, there are going to be people who test and try you. And when they test and try you, you have to remind them like, okay, you might try to test me, but you're going to get fucked up in this test. And they're going to keep trying you and keep trying you, maybe until they realize, all right, you know, maybe we should just leave this shit alone because I'm getting fucked up over here and everything is crumbling over here. And damn, I know this little black girl was going to fuck our whole shit up over here. Damn, motherfucker exposing me, going in on me. You know, damn, all right, shit. I thought we could just gang up on this girl. Nah, you can't. And if you do, you're going to feel some shit hit you back. And I'm going to pray for your recovery afterwards. That's all I'm saying. You know, and speaking of, I was watching this clip on TikTok of this guy talking about the power of the tongue and speaking, I guess, curses. In this particular situation, it was a curse. With The Color Purple. Several times. Well, the specific moments for me that I've resonated with was Celie, when, you know, she found her voice and she found her power. And, you know, when Mr. played by Danny Glover, you know, when she just, you know, said, you know, you're going to rot in the prison that you set for me. And, you know, everything that you even think about is going to crumble until you do right by me. And what was the other one? The best one. Everything that you've done to me is already done unto you. Okay? And you know, and the thing about The Color Purple, shout out to Whoopi Goldberg. Much love to her. She's a legend in her own right. And she's fabulous and beautiful and phenomenal. And you know what? Speaking of comedy, I would really love to see Whoopi Goldberg get back into comedy. Only if she wants to, only if she's passionate about it. But you know, I kind of forgot that she's a comedian. You know, like I feel like we see her on The View and she does all this you know, a lot of stuff about politics and serious conversations. I just feel like it would be nice to see her do like a stand-up show. And that's just me as a fan of comedy. As me as a fan of comedy and just really loving to see women and Black women who are phenomenal at it, like really dominate that space. But anyway, back to The Color Purple. You know, and mind you, she did an amazing job playing that character. But, you know, just for someone to be a Black woman, to be in this situation where you have this man like speaking down on you, calling you all these things, and really just trying to keep you ignorant to your power and your autonomy over your body, your mind, and your spirit. And then it just got to a point where she just, she was around people that was empowering her, but ultimately towards the end, when she just got fed up with his shit, and she was just like, when she grabbed that knife and stabbed it on the table, and she was just like, she told him his shit. And I love that for her, because I've had that moment in my life several times. And just that point where it's like, I don't care how big you are, I don't care how powerful you are, or if you got more money than me, or you're more established because you're a man, or whatever this is. Like, I don't care what you're talking about. I'm worthy. I'm enough. And very much like The Color Purple, the musical, but the ghetto version. Bitch, I'm here. Bitch, I'm here. Still here. And I say that for anybody that's ever been in circumstances and situations where people try to make you feel like you shouldn't be here. And people talk down on you and all these things. But you're like, nah, fuck that. I'm here. And I'm going to be here. And I got work to do while I'm here. And instead of being vengeful and hateful, just know that any curse that you try to put on me is already yours. And I'm going to let God handle that. But I'm going to be a blessing while I'm here. I'm going to be a blessing. Not only for myself, but for the world. Because I know that that's what God put me on this planet to be. And I don't care what anybody has to say about that. I don't care how many degrees you got. I don't care how many degrees you don't got. I don't care how educated you are, or how established you are, or established you're not. You're not going to tell me who the fuck I am. Period. I don't care how many times you try to reference my life, or latch on to my energy, or try to copy my swag, or copy what I do, or copy what I get, or whatever the case may be. You can never be me. And I never want to be y'all. Because I'm grateful and blessed and truly abundant to be myself in the best way. And I know there's people who could beg to differ and say this and say that about me, or whatever the case may be. But fuck what y'all got to say, because y'all not God. Y'all are not God in my life, and I'm here. I'm here. 5 years later, I'm here. I don't know who needs to hear this, but please stay here. Because God has blessings for you. And you're not done with this life, or what you plan on doing, what you're gifted at, what you're passionate about. Just know anything that you might be going through, that's a challenge, that's a detriment, that is painful, it's a season, and you'll get through it. And you just truly have to be in the mindset that this is something that's strengthening you, and that you can get through this. And that you're a lot stronger than you think you are. And you have to trust that. But I say that because I know what that's like. I know what that feels like. I've been there. And especially if you've dealt with betrayal, if you've dealt with people who try to make you feel like you're not supposed to be here, and if you had a support system that dwindled away for whatever reason, or maybe you come from like a dysfunctional family, so in some circumstances it's not like you could just lean on your parents or whoever, like, and you're really just pushing through on your own, please stay here. I mean that. Please stay here. Because I truly believe that you can get through what you're going through, and there's a beautiful blessing and a beautiful life at the other end of the tunnel of what you might be going through. I want whoever is watching this video, if you're going through a tough time, to say with me, bitch, I'm still here. If you're in your car, if you at the house, I don't care. If you're going through a tough time, or maybe you're not going through a tough time, maybe you're blessed, but I need you to feel it in your spirit. Bitch, I'm still here. Yeah, I went through that. Yeah, these bills is looking crazy. Yeah, that bitch tried me at the job. But you know what? Bitch, I'm still here. Yeah, my money is up right now. I'm blessed. I got great friends around me. And you know what? Bitch, I'm still here. They tried me that day. That person blessed me that day. I'm not as alone as I thought I was. Bitch, I'm still here. They tried to stop me, but bitch, I'm still here. They tried to off me, but bitch, I'm still here. They tried to hold me back, but bitch, I'm still here. I thought I had nowhere to go, but God made a way, and bitch, I'm still here. They tried to call me this name, this name, that. They said this about me. They said that about me. And bitch, I'm still here. They was hating on me. They tried to defame my character. They called me everything but a child of God. But bitch, I'm still here. They tried to pimp my energy. They tried to siphon my swag. But bitch, I'm still here. And anything you got can never compete to me. Never. Anything that you got as a copy, as a whatever, is great value. Cause bitch, I'm the original. What are we talking about? Anything you do to try to copy this swag, to hang with somebody that's kind of look like me, maybe try to do a project that looks similar to my project, replicate a look that kind of looked like mine. It don't fucking matter because bitch, I'm still here. You might have more money than me. You might have more access than me. You might have more power than me. You might have more accolades and more connections and all of that shit. It don't fucking matter because bitch, I'm still here and I'm a child of God. And God gonna make a way out of no way for me. And y'all gonna have to watch me win. Because here's the thing. When I win, it's not just for me. When I win, I care to pull people up with me. I care to be a blessing to my community. Not because my community is trying to latch on me and win off of me. No. It's done with boundaries. It's done with respect. It's done with, okay, if I can help, I will. But when I win, I know I can create wins for other people. Not by force, not because you trying to copy and nah. No, that ain't gonna work like that. Anyone who cares to collaborate with me, treat me with the respect that I give, that see the best in me, that blesses me, that empowers me, that uplifts me, you're blessed too. Because I don't care to just win alone. I care to create wins, not just for me, but for people who see the best in me, the people who want to see me win, people who empower me, my community, Black folks, Black organizations, Black businesses, banking Black, because I've been on that before it was popular. And I implore that other people do that too. Only support organizations and circumstances and conglomerates and corporations that support you. You see how Walmart is rolling back their diversity plans. Don't support these people that don't support you. And I know sometimes it could be a little tricky because, you know, these companies be within companies of companies, and you might not necessarily know who all is with you or who not. And people be pandering and shit like that. And you think you getting support, but it's really people pandering. It could be a little tricky that way. But really, we really need to build each other up. We need to see the best in each other. We need to work out our differences and put the BS behind us, because other communities knows how to support each other. Even if there's issues within the communities, they handle that shit. They don't profit and create a commodity out of the issue. They fix that shit in-house and they build. Why can't we do that? Why can't we do that in a way when we're not playing off the same playbook as the oppressor? Why we gotta move like the oppressor just to come up in our community? That's where a lot of my issues be. And that's where I challenge people in positions of power, and I challenge veterans. You know, I don't mean to be like, because like I said, I don't got beef with nobody, but I am going to challenge the system and call things out for what it is. If I can with my voice, if I can with my platform, then I will. And I do it with love, especially in my own community, especially in spaces of the arts. I was ranting the other day about like just being disappointed in how certain people in like, you know, icon status plays into the shenanigans. And if people were triggered, then chances are there was a reason why you were triggered. But here's the thing, I don't say it in a means of disrespect. I say it in a means of disappointment, as somebody that looks up to these people, as someone that's a creative, as a dreamer, that knows that at one point before you got to legend status, you were a dreamer. There probably was a time where people doubted you and didn't think that you was going to get to where you got. There was probably a chance in your journey. There was a moment in your journey where you ain't have opportunities and people wasn't opening the doors for you, and you had to knock that shit down. And I'm specifically speaking to people in positions of power, legends, people in high status that holds the door closed for other people, and be playing in that same playbook as the oppressor, as that the same playbook of oppressors that once held us down as a people, and y'all make them same plays. I'm sorry if you're triggered, but it's the truth that you need to hear, and I'm sorry if I'm the one to tell it. But somebody got to. But I'm saying it with love. I'm not saying it in a way to like just throw you out. I'm saying it to challenge you, to hold you to account, in hopes that you can have self-awareness to recognize that and show up and be better and lead better. Because where is the leadership? Where is it? I mean, you know, and I get it, like it's tough being a leader because we've seen prominent leaders in the past be like assassinated and attacked. And God willing, God bless the fact that we still have leaders like Honorable Louis Farrakhan, who's been laying low lately because, you know, he's a bit older at this point, but he's been preaching for decades and years. And I think that he says things that are really important for us to hear as a people, because he truly cares about Black folks, and not just Black people, but people in general. But where are the leaders within the industry that's not playing to these whole games where you got to compromise your morals? Like, I really find it hard to believe that in order to make it to that status, you gotta play those fucking devious games. Like, you mean to tell me ain't nobody morally sound? Nobody in high positions got it there off of talent and faith in God? You mean to tell me everything gotta be some type of a ritual where you gotta denounce your faith? I know this is a tangent that slid away from bullying, but I mean, in a way, it does kind of relate, because if you think about things in the industry, you have certain people that try to bully you and force you into situations where you got to compromise your morals in order to get ahead. And if you choose that you don't want to go that path, then you get gang stalked and bullied. And that shit is corny in itself. I mean, you've seen Cat Williams talk about it, how they try to blackball him when he ain't want to play them games. But in such a beautiful way, he still created a career for himself. And he was able to be a part of other people's projects. But the fact that he can tour and do his own show is beautiful. And he still has his own audience and his own fan base. And I was saying the same thing about Kai Cenat too. And, you know, I don't know if you've seen my message with 1 view on here, or maybe 1 million views. I don't know. But you know, it's a beautiful thing that he was able to build something for himself. So it's not like he needs other people's opportunities to be put on. Like, he put himself on. But in working with other people and collaborating with other people, like, I just really pray and hope that he stays centered in his faith. Like, Kai, I don't know if you're hearing this, but don't let any opportunity that comes your way make you feel like you need that, because you built something on your own, and you built something being positive and doing something beautiful with your friends. And there's a lot of weird, devious shit that be happening in this industry, and you don't have to play those games because you already built an empire on your own. And do the things that you need to do to protect it. Make sure your finances is good. Put a trust together. You know, life insurance, all those things. It's not like I got all that in my life yet. But I mean, he has the means to do it, and I know he can afford it. But I'm like, just to secure your legacy and make sure your things are intact and protected. But don't let nobody make you compromise your morals. You know, he seems like he's a kid with a good head on his shoulders, and he had, you know, his mom raised him right. And, you know, I just see something beautiful with him. And I just really hope that he doesn't let this no weird shit compromise him. You know, like, just stay focused, do your thing. Don't let nobody make you switch up and feel like, okay, to get on or get to the next step, I gotta do this. Like, nah, you did something beautiful, that you built yourself. You ain't gotta go to nobody to get permission or get freedom to do something. Like, now you did something on your own, and you should be proud of that, and you're doing great work. Keep up the good work, and don't let nobody make you do nothing that you don't want to do. If you feel uncomfortable, trust that shit. And teach other people around you to have that same discernment. Like, just stay positive and keep putting beautiful content out there. Keep being a beautiful inspiration to the people around you and your friends, and putting people on. Okay, and actually, I'm glad that this was another point that I wanted to bring up. Like, what he did with NPC Miles Morales, the kid that do the little the Spider-Man videos. Because the beautiful thing about what Kai Cenat did is that he saw that people was making fun of him, and he saw that people was bullying the kid that do the NPC videos. And he ain't like that shit. And you know what? And mind you, he could have been one of those people that was like in the comments shitting on the people that was trying to shit on the NPC Miles. But nah, instead what he did was, with a platform that he built himself, he brought him on. He put him onto his own platform. It was like, all right, Miles, or NPC Miles. I don't know that kid's real name, but y'all know who I'm talking about. If you know, you know. He put him onto his platform and was like, all right, you know, when we sleep, you're going to do the sub videos. I don't know exactly how it works, but he seen that he was struggling at one point and people was making fun of him. And he said, nah, I'm going to put you on. I'm going to bless you. I'm going to bring you onto my platform. And where other people are trying to like bring you down, I'm going to lift you up. That's what it's about, man. That's what it's about. It's easy to just sit up here and like be negative and shit on people and attack them and all these things. But he said, nah, let me put you onto my platform. Let me create an opportunity. Let's do some fun shit. And there's so many clips. There's so many funny clips with him. There's so many beautiful moments where he gifted him shoes. He had Shamik Moore come, who played Spider-Man and Enter the Multiverse, the animated movie, which was so good. I seen the first one. I don't think I seen the second one or whatever. But you know, like just that create an atmosphere to have those moments where y'all are just jamming and having a good time and like y'all bopping to Sunflower. Love that song. You know what I mean? Like it was just so beautiful to see. And if anybody is watching this, anybody is seeing this, in moments where it's easy for you to shit on somebody and for you to bully and dogpile, I challenge y'all. I challenge you to use your platform to put somebody on and be a blessing. Before you make that TikTok, when you laughing and joking and shitting on somebody, I challenge you to make a TikTok where you putting somebody on and you uplifting somebody and you blessing somebody and you putting a good word out there. I challenge you. Since y'all want to copy so much, let's copy that. Copy that. Copy that. Let's copy positivity. Let's copy using our platforms to build people up or inform people or to create content of showing the beautiful things in your life. Now, I know there's people already doing that. But I'm just saying, I challenge y'all, especially the people who be going on there, like, you know, and I gotta work on it too, but I'm trying to do it in this video because there's several times where I wanted to just get on here and rant, but I said, you know what? Nah, how can I use my platform to be more positive? And I feel like with this live stream and the last one, I'm working on it. So look, I'm not just saying this shit. I'm doing it myself. But I'm challenging y'all, especially y'all folks on Instagram, on TikTok, on whatever platform you want. If you want Twitch, if you want Kick, if you want YouTube, you want Shorts, you streaming, whatever it is that you do, even if you're not a content creator, say you create events, you plan events, or you hanging out with your friends, or you hanging out with your girls or your guys or whoever, or you going out, or it's somebody's birthday or somebody's event. I challenge you, before saying some shit or doing some shit where you know, tearing somebody down or shitting on them or making fun of them, I challenge you to do something where you're empowering somebody, where you say something positive, where you're doing something that makes somebody smile, where you're doing somebody that fulfills somebody's spirit, where you say somebody that may have been having a hard day that lights up their spirit, where you say something that inspires somebody to want to live another day and say, bitch, I'm still here. I challenge y'all. Now, I think that's the live stream. Y'all know I love to end on a positive note and say a prayer. I feel like the live stream was a prayer. So I'm just going to keep it cute and simple, and we just going to do Psalm 23 because you know that's my vibe. That's what I do. And And yeah, but before then, I'll just do a quick little self promo. Again, my name is Narisse. I'm a singer, songwriter, creative, visual artist. I play guitar. I put looks together. I do my own photo shoots. I edit the photos, edit visuals. I make music. I make the beat that's playing in the background right now. Um, all these beats that's playing in the background. I've made all these songs. Actually, quite frankly. And a lot of it is unreleased, but some of y'all have seen me work on these beats on live stream. And yeah, I just want to use my voice and my music and my life and my energy to show y'all how to beat these bullies and win in life. And winning in life could just look like you being proud of who you are. So yeah. And I got music on SoundCloud. Check it out. I think I might still have music on Spotify. I'm working on you know, reworking a few things with that. But I do have songs on SoundCloud. Do check that out. Check out Sweet Life. Check out everything that's on there. And also my videos on YouTube too. I do like cover videos. I style, film, edit those visuals. And yeah, just check out what I got going on. And thank you for the people who have watched this, who um who receive what I have to say and really hear me clearly. So the prayer that I'm gonna do is again Psalm 23. All right, let's get into it. The Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me on a path of righteousness for his name's sake. And although I walk through the valley and the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff comfort me. God prepares a table for me in the presence of my enemies and anoints my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I dwell in the house of the Lord forever. So it is, so it will be. Gratitude for what has already been. Amen. I mean, I should. Thank you all so much. I hope you all enjoyed this live stream. I hope you were inspired by this. I hope this uplifted your spirits in any way. I hope that there were some tools in this live stream that could be of value to you, especially in regards to, again, quick recap, building your support system, getting help how you need to. And if you're in a situation or circumstances where you don't have help, to build your self-esteem, be intentional about the content that you watch and what you consume, and be intentional about consuming things that are going to build you up, to build your self-esteem, to build your self-worth, and not in a way where you're cocky, but you're confident, and build your faith. And and that could be a source of support for you as well. And also be firm, be clear and firm about your boundaries, and know that in situations that may challenge you or test you, instead of seeing it as a detriment, see it as an opportunity that's going to build your character, that's going to build your mental fortitude, that's going to build your strength, and use that to build you up to the strong, blessed, beautiful, abundant beings that you all are. And be confident in standing up for yourself and know that it don't matter what anybody or what any situation that you're facing, that you're worthy, you're enough. And no one and no thing, no company, no money has power over you. Know that you're blessed. Know that you're loved. Know that you're enough. And your dreams are worth fighting for. And every day, me personally, I thank God when I wake up every day. And today, in particular, I'm grateful and proud to say, bitch, I'm still here. Much love to y'all. I'll catch y'all in the next live stream.